Here's a snapshot of week 1 of what I did for my new program. This is week 1 of about 8 weeks leading up to a powerlifting contest on August 7th for me. If you want further details on this, they'll be provided at the end of the video after the training footage. Okay, I'll break down this program further for you. It's based off a book written by Alex Bromley called Base Strength Program Design Blueprint, and I'm basing it off his progressive overload structured into wave progressions. I still base the training max. I use the old Jim Wendler 531, base it with a 90% training max, what my speculated 1RMs are at this point in time, and then that gives me my training max. So the TM here is what all my training weights are based off of in the following weeks to come. So to get this training max right now, currently, I was off for about 3 weeks completely from weight training and did about a one week ramp up program to get used to back into the weights, and then followed it up with this first week of actual all out training, and guessed what my 1RMs were going to be, and I was pretty much spot on except for my bench press. I was a little bit too high on that one, as you'll see on week 1 here in a second. So here's week 1, and with Alex's way of programming here, the one I went with, I'm really enjoying it. It's a volume phase, a base building phase, and essentially for all my main exercises, the first set is a set of 10 at a specific intensity, right, based off of my 1RM, which is watered down by the 90% training max. So here, the loads are in the yellow, that what the program calculated for me, and then what I actually loaded onto the bar that day of. And for comments, I put in here the estimated 1 rep max, 205. I enter all my workout information afterwards into Reactive Training Systems. It's a free site where you can go and register, and you can enter all your workouts, and that will tell me essentially based on what I put in for the weight, the amount of reps I did, and what I base it for my RPE, that it'll spit out a 1RM for me estimated. So I always put that in here now, and I can reference this when I go to look at doing up with the next week, so essentially week 2. So with the program here, this first set of 10, you don't want the weight so heavy that it's going to be an RPE 10, it's going to be an all-out max. You don't want that. You want it to be about an RPE 7, maybe 8. And then for your follow-on sets, your drop-down sets, whatever you want to call them, it's 3 sets of 6, and you stick to the same weight. And then essentially these will either become, in this case, they felt slightly easier. It was probably an RPE 6, or they'll stay about the same as your first set for an RPE value. And again, close grip bench press, I dropped that down to 70% based off of my 1RM, and it felt pretty good. And the same thing, deadlifts felt really good. Pause squat felt really good. Day 3, the bench press, I had my 1RM too high. It was programmed at 365, and I had a 72% intensity calculation here, which put the weight too high. I put it at 245 for loading on the bar, and by the time I was finished that set, it was an RPE 9 at 245. So that basically screwed up all my follow-on sets of 3 sets of 6, and I had to lower the weight on the bar. So here I have a note for myself for next week to essentially take off weight. So I'm going to lower my 1RM down to 345, and that should adjust for it accordingly. So next week it will feel much better. So that is the program in a nutshell so far. And again, if there's anything else you want me to talk about, any questions, put them in the comments section, feel free.